Old mamas just like this. Old mamas. Sitting up there fucking lying. Making fucking excuses. Not only for the kid, but for her fucking self. Because she knows she's failed this child. So instead of just owning the fucking failure and moving on, she needs to circumvent the failure. Because they dare not own the failure, right? Because let's face it, a lot of these old mamas have not accomplished crap in their life. And the only fucking accomplishment they have is having these kids. That is their fucking accomplishment. And they dare not admit to failing at that, right? They dare not admit to failing at it. These women know they failed these children. I just wanted y'all to see the type of people who raise the type of people who kill the Hadia Pendletons of the world, who kill the James Lamberts of the world. These are the type of people that raised them. These idiot old mamas who don't give a damn about these children. They don't care how they're raised. They don't care how they're developed. They don't care about their education. They don't care about their supervision. They don't care about counseling them. They don't care about guiding them, instructing them. They don't care about it. And then when one of these young fools go off and kill somebody, stab somebody, shoot somebody, rob somebody, these old mamas sit up and make excuses for them. And make excuses for themselves at the same time. Oh, I'm not a bad mom. Your fucking daughter's out killing somebody 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. Nope, you're not a bad mom. You're a fucking horrible mom. You old mama, you. You're beyond bad. You're horrible. And I say again, they just try to save face. Circumventing the failure instead of just owning it. They know they failed these fucking children. They know they have. They failed them. They failed them when they was 4. So what do? Continue to practice the same tactics when they're 14, when they're 24, when they're 34. Even though those patterning practices failed when they were 4, they're still doing the same shit when they're 14. Doing the same shit when they're 24. When they're 34. These are the old mamas who got the 36-year-old motherfucker living in a cellar. Telling you how she's a good mom. No. You're a failure, mom. Your failure is that 38-year-old motherfucker that lives in a cellar. That is your failure. Mama. Even if you don't want to admit it. Even if you don't want to own it. Failure. It's the 38-year-old living in your cellar. Mama, 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 mama.
Them old mama.
Raising you, your
Who's raising you with all of this drama?
The prophet of thought.
Who's raising you?
Nigga. Who's raising you? These old mamas.
Who's raising you?
Nigga.
Who's raising you? Who's raising you?
Who's raising you with all of this drama?
Who's raising you?
Nigga.
The prophet of thought.
Who's raising you? These old mamas.
Who's raising you?
Nigga.
You know.
Who's raising you?
The prophet of thought.
Open your mind.
T.P.O.T. Investigate.
Think about this.
Open your mind.
Think about this.
T.P.O.T. Investigate. And we are back, Negroes. Peace, folk. Welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought Series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black asses are here. Boy, I got a good one for y'all tonight, boy. I mean, it's just full of surprises. It already started off with some surprises. Shout out to my brother, man, brother A Truism, with the track Who's Raising You, available on iTunes for $9.99 per copy. If you want a copy, just go ahead and hit up my brother A Truism so you can get your copy off of iTunes. But yeah, yeah, got a good show for y'all tonight, man. Tonight we are talking about who's raising you. I know y'all, we were supposed to start at 8 o'clock, but my wife cooked, so I said y'all Negroes can wait. Yeah, I had to put y'all on the back burner so I can eat. But yeah, man, tonight, man, we're gonna do a show tonight, man, and we're gonna be talking about, does it matter who raises you? Now, those of us with half a brain in our head or more, we already know the answer to that question. But we're going to go in the weeds a little bit. We're going to mess with a little bit of research, pull up a few stats. Y'all know how we do it here. Yeah. So tonight, good show tonight. But before we get started, and I got one more surprise for y'all too before we even start the show. But before we get started, y'all know I always start the show off with thanking you good folks, man, for your likes, your shares, your views, your subs, and of course, your hard-earned pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces. Because I realize you don't have to do it, man. You don't have to show up to these goddamn streams. You don't have to watch these videos. You don't have to like them or share them. And you definitely don't have to drop your hard-earned coins on this platform. But you good folk choose to do so, man. Night after night, week after week, you are here when you can be anywhere. And I don't take you good folks lightly, man. I never have and I never will. You got my word on that. I am humbled. I'm honored. I'm appreciative. And most importantly, man, I am thankful for all you good folk. That goes for the good folk who hang out there and the good folks who hang out up in here. All right? All right. So let's get at it, and y'all hit that damn like button, god damn it. Let me do a little roll call. Let me see who we got in the house. I see my brother, A Truism. What's good with it, man? Brother Free Zone is here. What's good with it, brothers? My Chi-Town brother is in the house. Brother Perfect Black. What's good with it, brother? And brother Little Rock, who's been following me since I had 2.5 subscribers. Yeah, man, we're gonna get at it tonight. But y'all know, before we get started, I always start the show off, which I believe is y'all favorite segment of the stream, the old mama of the day. These old mamas. Yeah, it's time for the old mama of the day, because y'all know we never fucking run out and we never will. I could do this till I was 90 and I would never run out of these stories. But got a special one for y'all tonight. This one comes courtesy of Brother Game Changer, used by permission, of course, and I don't even think I'm going to have to say anything. So hold on to your seats. Take it away, Brother Game Changer.
Out in the bra and panties. Apparently there's a little boy there. So this isn't lewd in front of a minor, right? There's a minor right there. But this is okay because vagina. And that is a gun. That is a gun. That is a gun that she is pointing in the general vicinity of a minor while in her bra, panties, and slippers in the rain in front of a school bus full of children. Not only is that somebody's mama, the somebody who mama you is right there. Calamus, people. Calamus. Oh, that's something interesting. I didn't see that when I first watched the video. If I'm not mistaken, she gave the gun to the minor. I repeat, fellas, she gave the gun to the minor. She gave the gun to the minor. Let me turn up the volume. Bring it closer. She gave the gun to the minor. And now the people are in the bus screaming. Now the kid that's holding the camera is not ducking for cover while the others are. They're like, I got to get on Worldstar Hip Hop.
I must be on Worldstar Hip Hop. Now, I don't know if y'all are familiar with this story. This is from New Orleans, right? And this girl got into a fight on the bus. And I guess she got whooped up on the bus. She got off the bus and tried to get back on the bus with a gun. I do believe that this girl, and I think this girl was only like 12 years old. I do believe that her mom gave her the gun because since this, the mother and the daughter have been arrested, all right, for brandishing the gun. Now, mind you, this chick is standing out there in her drawers and bra, all right, and slippers. She's standing out there by the goddamn school bus. Now, this is an old mama now. One of her kids is already on the bus fighting, and she's got a little kid with her. And she turns around and hands the gun to the little kid right out there. But we continue. There's more. Oh, yeah, fair use. Shout out to Brother Game Changer.
Mexico native said, heard you the first 3 times. Well, hear it again. She gave the gun to a minor.
Now, you see this woman standing out here, right? She's out here and looks like to be flip-flops, her damn panties, and her bra. Now, mind you, she's standing out here, and it's a busload of children. She's got another little kid. I don't know, maybe her daughter called her on the phone and say, Mama, come out here, and she didn't have no clothes on, so she just ran the hell out there in her skivvies. I don't know. Maybe she didn't have time to put on clothes. I don't know, you know, because these old mamas are insane. So you just can't You just can't figure out why they do the things they do. But we continue.
It's a bunch of kids crying on the bus. Yep. This is happening, people. This is a real thing. Now, let's see how this starts. So that was the daughter of 12 years old. First of all, that's 12? That's 12? What in the hell are you feeding these kids?
We're going to skip over this part because now we're going to get to the old mama. We're going to, we got to close out with old mama, right? Making a statement on freaking social media because, these broads just cannot stay off of social media with their BS. They continue to make fools out of themselves after they've done something already totally stupid. But let's go.
What led to that charge? The children's name have not been released given the age of the girl involved.
At the end of the day, I'm a woman of God, but I do not receive.
Which God? Which God do you worship?
I agree. And that's another thing. Now, these old mamas are always talking about they women of God, right? Notice that's the first thing she said. Oh, I'm a woman of God. If you're a woman of God, what you doing standing out there in front of a goddamn bunch of a busload of freaking kids in your damn drawers and bra, handing a pistol to what looks to be a 9-year-old? Is that what women of God do? You old mama, you. Boy, they will hide behind God in a minute, boy. They're all women of God while they do stupid, ungodly shit. We continue.
How my child is being held accountable for something that she was being bullied about. She was being bullied, so that's why she pulled out a firearm.
She was being bullied. That's why she pulled out a firearm. Now, those of us who have two working eyes, we can clearly see that she came back to the bus with the gun. So she was already off of the bus. What she did is she went and got the damn pistol from this old mama here and came back to the bus with it. That's what happened. But we continue.
It was in her possession, though it was not supposed to be in her possession. It was in
her possession, but it was not supposed to be in her possession.
Her possession, and she pulled it. I don't.
Oh, God. Now, you got to ask yourself, why? You got it, Brother X. Anything you need. Why is she free? Why is she free? Why is she free? Not only is she free, she's free enough to do her hair and makeup. Because remember, hold on. That's her right there, apparently. That's her right there. Broad panties, no damn hair. That's her right there. So they didn't arrest the mother immediately, obviously. And she used that time while her daughter was arrested to go get her hair and makeup done. So she could come back and say her piece. Now remember, she's union. Oh, and by the way, where is the father? Do I have to ask? Do I have to ask where's the father? Do you really have to ask where the father is? Huh? No father, and you have a fat ass 12-year-old daughter bringing guns to school whilst getting her ass whooped. Just saying. I don't need a man. You need something. You need something. GC is the father. No. Like I say, if you're not matching your bra and panties, you get three times, because that's how many condoms is in a box. I am not the father. Oh, what, I hit the mute button or something? Hold on.
Was being bullied, so that's why she pulled out a firearm.
I don't know if she was actually, I don't know the history of what's going on. In fact, I think that the video that the news people did is chronologically incorrect. So I don't even know the full story, and they're doing it like that on purpose. Like, notice how they don't really show what happened between the fight ending and the girl and the gun. Like, 1 minute they're fighting and the guy takes a broom from her, and the next thing you know, she's outside the bus with a gun. So don't really know. There's obviously a lot missing going on. But the mother said that the child is being bullied, that her daughter was being bullied. I don't know if it's bullying to just get an ass whooping. I don't know that. But if that is the case, then what's going on is that the mother heard about the bullying, told her to get on the bus anyway, and the mother either knew that she bought a gun or she didn't know. But either way, it's pretty damn bad.
I agree. I mean, because we see the mama with the gun first, then we see the daughter with the gun. It kind of reminds me of that story that I brought y'all a while back, where these two women were fighting, and this one woman hands her daughter a purse with the loaded pistol in it, and the kid, who is, I believe, 10 years old, pulls the loaded pistol out and shoots the woman in the head who was fighting her mother, and killed her. These old mamas are irresponsible, man. I know y'all get mad at me because I bring y'all these stories, but it's not me doing this shit. So if you're mad at me about these stories, how mad are you at these old mamas? I'm not the one corrupting their kids, am I? I'm not the one giving their kids guns, am I? I'm just bringing a story to you. And as always, these women will sit back and make excuse after excuse after excuse. Not just for the kid, but for their fucking selves too. It's not the kid's fault, no. And it's also not my fault. It's no one's fault that this happened. It's no one's fault. No one's. Yeah, my daughter shot somebody. Yeah, my daughter had a gun, but it's not her fault she had the gun. Well, where'd she get the gun from? Oh, she got it from me. But it's not my fault either that she has it. It's not her fault. And it's not my fault either. It's nobody's fault. It's the spirit's fault. It's the white power structure's fault. It's the racism's fault. Right? Unfreaking believable. But that is our old mama of the day. So yeah, man, let's get at it. I want to read y'all something, man, because we talking about, does it matter who raises you? And like I said, we all know the answer to that, right? But I want to share something with you, good folk. Because I think this is somewhat important. And I know some brothers going to want to come up and talk about this shit, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this stuff. Just kind of go through it here and there because I know you brothers want to come up and talk about it. But it says here, and this is from fathers.com, and before y'all say something, yeah, it's the white man's data. Yeah, it's the white man's data, so just take it with the salt mine. All right, take it with the salt mine. Y'all know what a salt mine is. You know, they go in the cave and they scrape the salt off the walls and it still be gray. And they have to put it on the back of the truck and take it to the processing plant and make it white. Just take it with the salt mine, all right? But it says here, the consequences of fatherlessness. Some fathering advocates would say that almost every social ill faced by America's children is related to fatherlessness. 6 are noted here. Also see related fatherlessness epidemic infographic. As supported by the data below, children from fatherless homes are more likely to be poor, become involved in drug and alcohol abuse, drop out of school, and suffer from health and emotional problems. Boys are more likely to become involved with crime, and girls are more likely to become pregnant as teens. And number 1 speaks of poverty. It says children in father-absent homes are almost 4 times more likely to be poor. In 2011, 12% of children in married couple families were living in poverty, compared to 44% of children in mother-only families. And that comes from the U.S. Census Bureau, Children's Living Arrangements and Characteristics, March 2011. It says children living in female-headed families with no spouse present had a poverty rate of 47.6%, over 4 times the rate in married couple families. That comes from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Now, here we have a graph. And let me blow this up for y'all a little bit. Well, actually, let me blow it up for my damn self because I'm old and blind. But y'all get the benefit from it, too. It says here, children in poverty by family structure. And what you see here in the red is married couple families, and in the blue is female-headed households. Now, it goes from 2001 to 2011. So this was a 10-year study done about 11 years ago. And it said in 2001, married couple families, 8% were living in poverty compared to 39% female-headed households living in poverty. 8.6% in 2003 compared to 41%. 8.5%. Now remember, the red is the married couple families. 8.5% compared to 46.6%. And the numbers pretty much stayed the same until 2009. Married couple families rises almost 3 points. But also from here to here, female-headed households rises 2 points as well. And then in 2011, married couple families actually drops, okay, a percentage point, while female-headed households, 3.3% rise, a 3.3% rise in the poverty by female-headed households. But, I mean, we know this, right? Even though, you know, you have a lot of people who want to deny it and, you know, base their damn arguments off of exceptions. You know the old saying that I use all the time. I knew somebody who their mom smoked crack-laced heroin and she had 9 kids and he grew up to be an astronaut. But in reality, we know the biggest cohort of people living in poverty, or should I say the biggest cohort of people living at the poverty line or below it, are freaking who? Oh, baby mamas. Single women with children. They make up the biggest cohort of people living in poverty, no matter what race it is. So, of course, black people, we have the biggest percentages of it. Now, let's go down here. Oh, what's going on? What'd you say? Scroll up. Why, something you want to see? Oh, I probably gotta reduce the size, man. You know my ass blind, man, so I had to magnify it a little bit. What, you want to see the graph again? Oh, absolutely. I will put this in the chat. Y'all know how we do it. You know how we do it. I always put it in the chat because I don't expect you to just listen to me. Check it out for yourselves. Come to your own conclusions. Brothers, come to your own conclusion. My brothers. Now we go down here to drug and alcohol use. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services states fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse. There is significantly more drug use among children who do not live with their mother and father, of course. Physical and emotional health. A study of 1,977 children aged 3 and older living with their residential father or father figure found that children living with married biological parents had significantly fewer externalizing and internalizing behavior problems than children living with at least one non-biological parent. Of course, I just don't think a stepdad is the same as a real father. Because number one, if that's really your father, he's going to have more of a connection to you. You're his biological kid. He's just going to think more of you. I mean, we're men, that's kind of how we think, right? I mean, we will, if we're a man and we are with a woman with kids, of course, you know, we probably more tolerate the kids than we do anything else. When it's your kid, you don't tolerate it. You raise it, right? So that goes without saying. That stat goes without saying. It also says children of single-parent homes are more than twice as likely to commit suicide. All right? But we go down, and it says data from 3 waves of the Fragile Family Study was used to examine the prevalence and effects of mothers' relationships changes between birth and age 3 on their children's well-being. Children born to single mothers show higher levels of aggressive behavior than children born to married mothers. living in a single mother household is equivalent to experiencing 5.25% partnership transitions. Like I said, man, I did put it in the chat so y'all can check it out for yourself. Check the data. Don't just listen to me. Come to your own conclusions, brothers. But I have one more that I want y'all to look at here. And this one, statistics on fatherless children in America. And before you say anything, yeah, it's the white man's data. It's the white man's data. So just take it with a salt mine. And this basically says pretty much the same as the other one, but this one is a little more recent. This study was May 24th, 2019. It says children who grow up in fatherless homes have a greater risk of major challenges in life than those who grow up with a father at home. We might want to believe otherwise, and there are many children who overcome the hardships associated with an absent father, but the truth is in the data. According to the Annie E. Casey Foundation website, national kids count approximately 35% of children under 18 live in a single-parent home as of 2016. As many as 25% of children in the U.S. live in households with a mother alone. That is over 18 million children who do not live with a father figure. Additionally, father-only households were noted at just 8%. And once again, it goes into the poverty risk. It says statistics show that women-only households are more likely to live below the poverty line. In 2016, the U.S. Census Bureau reported that these types of families increased to 28%. This leaves children vulnerable to a variety of social hardships throughout their lives. The American Academy of Pediatrics notes that 1 in 5 children, more than 40% of all children in the U.S., fall in the category of poor or near poor. While this includes families with 2 parents as well, the study shows the disadvantages these children face. For instance, the AAP notes that impoverished children are more likely to experience developmental delays and lower academic performance. This can be attributed to both the school system that serve poor neighborhoods as well as the decreased access to brain stimulation in the home. If children cannot learn on the computer or take advantage of other stimulating activities, their schoolwork and learning ability can be affected. Behavioral and mental health issues are more prevalent in children growing up in poor families. Factors such as neighborhood environment and family disputes and struggles can lead to depression, obesity, and a general rebellion against authority. A lack of access to health care can also be a detriment to a child's development. The effects of poverty are not regulated to the childhood either. The AAP says child socioeconomic status, or SES, is tied to educational attainment, health, and psychological well-being decades later. The statistics of fatherless children. The negative effects of a child without a father can be seen in countless studies and reports. The statistics show the importance of a father figure in the majority of children's lives. According to What Can the Federal Government Do to Decrease Crime and Revitalize Communities from the U.S. Department of Justice, children from fatherless homes account for suicide, 63% of the suicides, runaways, 90% of all homeless and runaway youth, behavioral disorders, 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders, high school dropouts, 71% of all high school dropouts, juvenile detention rates, 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions, substance abuse, 75% of adolescent patients in substance abuse centers, aggression, 75% of rapists motivated by displaced anger. Now, what I just read y'all is that these people came from fatherless homes. 63% of the suicides, 90% of the runaways, 85% of the kids with behavioral disorders, 71% of the high school dropouts, 70% of juvenile detention people, 75% of substance abusers, 75% of rapists come from fatherless homes. Now, I know we hear people like Christina Cross and Brittany Cooper are always somewhere talking about how fathers aren't important. And these are people, these are educated, schooled people. All right? Christina Cross, you remember I brought y'all her and told y'all, and this is a Harvard professor who actually wrote a thesis on how maybe black fathers aren't as important as we think they are. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember Christina Cross? And we all know who Brittany Cooper is, right? She's always somewhere talking about how fathers aren't as important as we think they are. These people that say this stuff. See, they came from old baby mamas. But you ever notice how the people who are always talking about how fathers aren't important didn't have one? It's always the people raised by some old baby mama and didn't have a father telling you how you don't need one. Have you ever heard anybody who was raised by their dad telling you how they would have been better off if they didn't have them? Have you ever heard someone who was raised by their dad telling you that you're better off without being raised by a dad? It's always somebody who's raised by an old baby mama telling you how, oh, fathers aren't that important. In fact, and the statistics carry this, they say this, that you are better off as a black person with a father in your life than a white person raised by a white baby mama. Because, you know, we always talking that white supremacy and the white power structure and the white man. If you are a black person raised by your father, you got your father in your life, you're probably better off than a white person being raised by an old white baby mama. And they talk this crap, but they never show any statistics, do they? They never show you. They don't even do what we do up here. Bring you some data or some statistics. They just talk it. They never show you no stats supporting the shit they say. They go right to the anecdote. Oh, well, I'm glad my father wasn't around because he was abusive to my mother. They go right to the anecdote. Never any data. Never any statistics. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? But we continue. Says here, to back up that data from 1998, which continues to be cited by researchers, a 2016 report of teenagers placed in juvenile residential facilities shows that 45% were living with only one parent at the time. That is a significant difference when compared to 30% of teens in two-parent households. Furthermore, individual studies over the years have noted similar challenges for children with an absent father. Educational attainment. Kids living in single-parent homes or in step families report lower educational expectations on the part of their parents, less parental monitoring of schoolwork, and less overall social supervision than children from intact families. Achievement. Children from low-income, two-parent families outperform students from high-income, single-parent homes. Let's repeat that one. Children from low-income, two-parent families outperform students raised by high-income baby mamas. Almost twice as many high achievers come from two-parent homes as one-parent homes. Drug use. A study from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services concluded that fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse. And this comes from the National Center for Health Statistics Survey on Child Health. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, circa 1993. Incarceration rates. Young men who grow up in homes without fathers are twice as likely to end up in jail as those who come from traditional two-parent families. Those boys whose fathers were absent from the household had double the odds of being incarcerated, even when the other factors such as race, income, parent, education, and urban residence were held constant. In other words, it's not so much of your color that will dictate whether or not your ass get incarcerated. It is your environment. It is whether or not you have a father, whether or not you have a decent mother. Because if you take a white person and you raise him by an old baby mama in the trailer park some damn where, he's just as likely to go to jail as a black person raised in the goddamn projects by an old baby mama. It's not always race and color and shit for everything. Come on. Come on. But we continue. Why fathers matter. Men and women are different and they parent in different ways. While these statistics examine the issue of children growing up without a father, it's important to look at what a father can bring to the child-parent relationship. In a report by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, these benefits are outlined in great detail. For instance, young boys who have a father figure are less likely to act out, and young girls are often more confident. A father can also help establish a sense of security and guide children to make wiser decisions. Let's read that one again. A father can also help establish a sense of security and guide children to make wiser decisions. The difference in parenting styles is distinct. Fathers communicate in a unique way. For example, while a mother will often simplify her language to a child's level, men tend to tell it like it is with no change in vocabulary. Subconsciously, this can challenge kids to try and understand what they're being told, which can increase critical thinking skills and subsequently school and future work success. In other words, your old man don't talk to you in the goo-goo gaga language, even though your ass is 2. He talks to you like you're 12. He doesn't do the goo-goo gaga with you. He leaves that for mama. And these things trigger things in a child. All right? It challenges the kid so they can try to understand what's going on. These are the things that make fathers important. We tell it like it is. No change in vocabulary. All right? We continue. Discipline is another area where significant differences between mothers and fathers are seen. While women tend to be more sympathetic, fathers tend to be sterner. Fathers like to enforce the rules with an objective perspective, and this can instill in children a greater sense of right and wrong that can last a lifetime. Fathers also help boys develop self-respect for women and make girls more comfortable around men. These are two very important aspects of a child's social development, especially in today's society in which gender equality and mutual respect are vital to success. Now, I don't know about that shit, but I don't know about that one. They was doing good up till they got to that paragraph. But we continue. The stand-in father figure. The importance of a father in a child's life cannot be understated, but every family situation is different. It is not always possible for a biological or stepfather to be present. This is where children can benefit from community resources that can fulfill this gap. Many communities have seen great success with mentoring programs for at-risk youth. Mentors, teachers, coaches, clergy, and other adults can provide support for these kids and give them a perspective on the world that can counteract the risk of living in a single-parent household. Now I'm going to go ahead, put this in the chat for you brothers as well. Go ahead and read it. Don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to me. Read it, brothers. Come to your own conclusions. Y'all know how we do it here. Don't just listen to me. Check it out for yourselves. Come to your own conclusions. But there's no denying, brothers, that having a father in your life is important. I mean, it's important. Now, people will tell you that they know a lot of people who had fathers and they still messed up. And, oh, I know someone, they were raised by their father and they ended up smoking crack and robbing a liquor store and shooting a nun. But you know, as black folks, you know, we like to always make our arguments based on an exception, right? But what people don't understand is that as a child, when you are raised by your father, you are at a statistical advantage. Just like if you're being raised without a father, you are at a statistical disadvantage. Y'all heard the things that I read you from the white man's data. You're less likely to be living in poverty. You're less likely to commit suicide. You're less likely to be running away. You're less likely to be having behavioral disorders. You're less likely to drop out of high school. You're less likely to end up in juvenile detention. You're less likely to be a substance abuser. You're less likely to grow up to be a rapist. You are at a statistical disadvantage when you are not raised by your father. You just are. Let me read these to y'all again, just in case you didn't hear me up there in the nosebleed seats. 75% of rapists didn't have a father. 75% of adolescent patients in substance abuse centers, no father. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions, no father. 71% of all high school dropouts, no father. 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders, no father. 90% of all homeless and runaway youths, no father. 63% of youth suicides, no father. And it goes on and on and on. Because if you go to a prison, brothers, don't you know about 70% of the people in there doing life sentences are people without fathers. And like they said, 75% of the rapists. Shit, I believe 75% of the people in prison in general are people with no fathers. Now, of course, people who was raised by an old baby mama, they'll come up and tell you, oh, well, you know, I didn't have a father and look at me. I'm just fine. My response to that is, are you really? Are you? Maybe you're fine now. But how were you as a kid? What type of shit did you do when you were a kid? Were you always the way you are now that you're 40? You didn't have a father. How were you when you were 12? How were you when you were 10? How were you when you were 8? Because chances are if you didn't have a father, especially if you're black, boy, you got your ass beat with belts and sticks and clothes hangers and racetracks and mop handles and broomsticks and shoes. And guess what else? When you don't have a father, you're more likely to be molested. See, they left that one out. But you know OX wouldn't. You know I wouldn't leave that one out, right? 70%. 70% of children. And this is just the ones that are reported. Let me add that disclaimer because you know a lot of us, we never report it. So let me say 70% of the reported cases of children being violated don't have access to their father. So what does that mean? And people wonder why in certain parts of black society the problems exist, right? And I was talking about this to my wife earlier. We were talking about it out on the deck this morning. And I was telling her, I said, a lot of black children, number one, grow up without a father. Number two, about 60 to 70% of black children are molested by the time they're 16. Number three, they have all types of fucking behavior problems and their mothers abusing them. So they're abused, they're neglected, they're molested. There's no man there to balance them out. So what happens? You have children growing up in adverse circumstances. You got children growing up, they're living in poverty. They got a mama who ain't shit. They're getting abused. They're getting molested. And they grow up with all that shit on them. And I was telling my wife, I said, it's like having a stick of dynamite in your backpack as a child. And you grow up with it. You're 8 years old with the stick of dynamite in your backpack. But you just can't seem to light it. So by the time you get to be 28, now you're capable of lighting that fucking stick of dynamite and just letting it explode wherever. Whether it explodes on other people, whether it explodes in your actions, you end up in jail. Girls are more promiscuous. All these things going on at one time. Because a lot of these black children, they undergo a plethora of issues. Because you know it's never just one issue, right? And at some level, we have to understand that it's due. A lot of it is due to not having a father. And we asked the question tonight, does it matter who's raising you? Fucking A, it does. Because guess what? When you don't have a father, you are open to all this other stuff. You're open to the mistreatment by your mother. You're open to the molestation by one of mama's old boyfriends. You're more likely to be living in fucking poverty some fucking where. Going to shitty fucking schools. Being around shooting and killing and so it kind of cascades, right? The not having a father cascades into a plethora of other things. Right? Especially if the freaking woman who's raising you isn't the best suited person for motherhood. Because, see, for some reason, we think anybody that got a fucking vagina is capable of being a mother. Just because she can drop one out, she's capable of being a mother. Because, you know, we have no problem talking about how bad fathers can be. But all mothers are perfect, every single one of them. Because she had you, right? That's what they say, right? Oh, she had you. Yeah, she fucking had me when I was 13. When she was 13. Yeah, she had me. She was 14 when she had me. So you're trying to say she was equipped to be your mama? Just because you fell out a whole funky hole? We need to think about this stuff, man. Because I know us as black people, you know, we deify old mama. Mama's a deity because she fucking had us. No matter how bad she treated us. No matter how bad she whooped on us. No matter how many of her old boyfriends was up in our room at night. As she freaking denied it when we went in there and told her about it. She's still mama. She's still a deity. Our old mama can get away with anything, can't she? Mama could beat you to a bloody pulp. She could split your head open to the white meat. She could leave your ass home by yourself and starve you. She can leave you at your grandmama's house and don't come back for 2 years. But if your black ass ever get rich, you'll still buy her a fucking house. If your old man miss one football game, you'll never speak to him again. And we got this resentment for our old man, and he hasn't done a percentage of the shit your mother has done to you. because he wasn't around to do it. The only thing he ever did was leave your black ass mama. That didn't have nothing to do with you. That was between him and her. Had nothing to do with you. Because that's usually the first thing that come out of somebody's mouth, right?
Oh, he left my mama. Oh, he abandoned my mama.
That's why I always tell brothers, if you didn't really have a relationship with your father, and that brother is still alive, and you grow up, I don't give a shit how much your mama has told you to hate that man. Find that man, and if you find him and he's still alive, listen to that man's story. Guarantee you, it won't be nothing like your old mama told you. Not even close. Because your mama ain't going to tell you what happened for real. She ain't going to tell you that she was just your old man's side chick. She ain't going to tell you if your old man got the fuck away from her because her ass was a hoe and screwed his brother. You think mom's going to tell you that? No. She's going to put it all off on him. He was wrong. He left us. He didn't want you. He didn't want us. I would even venture to say that a lot of our fathers probably didn't even know we were theirs. A lot of our fathers, let's be honest, probably didn't even want us like that. They just wanted to stretch our old mama out and fuck her ass. They wasn't thinking about no damn kid when they stretched your mama out somewhere in the back of their damn F-150 or in the bathroom of a club or bent her ass over in a park. Most of our fathers wasn't thinking about having us when all of that was going on. Just like our old mama wasn't. Think about it. I know it's hard to imagine old mama bent over some fucking where. I know it is. But y'all gotta get past it. 'Cause how you think your black ass got here? You think a stork flew your ass in and dropped you on your mama's porch? No. Your old pappy had your old mama bent over in some fucking nightclub bathroom or in the back seat of his damn car or on the fucking ground some fucking where. That's what happened. You know, the same way you made your kids. Your old mama wasn't different. That's another thing. We get to thinking that old mama was some kind of saint. A lot of our mamas was hoes. Oh, you think hoes just got invented in 2005? Hoes have always been around. And guess what? Some of them was our old mamas. Oh, yeah, they had hoes back then, too. And some of them was our mothers. I say again, I know it's hard to imagine old mama getting a train ran on her ass. I know it's hard to imagine mama bent over some fucking where in the woods or on her fucking knees some fucking where. But mom was no saint. She wasn't. She wasn't a saint. Especially those of you when your mom got multiple baby daddies. Guess what? Mom wasn't no saint. Because mom just wasn't bent over for your daddy. She was bent over for your brother's daddy, your sister's daddy, your other brother's daddy, your other sister's daddy. Does that sound like a saint to you? Get over it. Get over it. Especially if you listen to me. Because guess what here? Mama is no fucking deity. Not here. But the fact that your mother was loose probably had a lot to do with how she raised you. I find it hard to believe that an irresponsible person can become responsible just because she dump out a kid or two. So if she's an irresponsible person, there's a pretty good chance they raised us irresponsibly. Now, I'm not saying every single case is that way, but I read y'all the stats tonight. Some of the world's most heavy societal problems come from where? Out of the homes of baby mamas. That's just the truth. And according to the studies we just read, it doesn't even matter what color you are. You're being raised by old baby mama. You are statistically at a disadvantage. But when you're talking about fathers in the home, there's no denying the fact that when your old man is raising you, he's teaching you. He's making you responsible. Even if your old mama ain't shit. Because guess what? The shit that fly at mama house don't fly at the old man's house. His discipline is different. His rules are different. He ain't your goddamn friend. He's your father. And he can parent you different. You know why? Because he doesn't give a shit what you think about him. Because, see, he's not self-serving like your old mama is. What you think of him is irrelevant. What you learn, understand, and become is. That's what's relevant to your father. Your old man don't even care if you like him or not. He doesn't want your worship. He wants your fucking respect. But old mama wants to be worshipped, don't she? You must worship her. That's the difference between her and your father. See, your father, it's about you. Your mother, it's about her. That's the difference. Because even if your mother and father are together, because when you think of your father, right, that's the man who protects you, right? But see, your father doesn't just protect you from the creepy old perv down the road or the boogeyman in the closet or the monster under the bed. He also protects you from your old mammy, because she's less likely to be across your head with that broomstick if the old man is there. She's less likely to be across your ass with that mop handle if the old man is there. Because even if your mother and your father don't live together, she's not going to be across your ass with broomsticks and switches and all that kind of shit like that, especially if you have ready access to him. Because you as a child, you're not the only one that have to answer to this man. So the fuck does mama. Yeah, mama got to answer to him too, especially if they live together. Because if your mama across your head with that broomstick, the old man wants to know why. She can't just crack you across the back with the mop handle and the old man says nothing. You're less likely to endure that kind of abuse, that emotional abuse, that mental abuse, that physical abuse when you're being raised by your father. Because who do you think the children who get physically abused and sexually abused, and what do you think the biggest cohort of those people are? What do you think the biggest group are? The biggest group of people who endure this stuff as children, man, are people who don't have readily access to their father or have no father at all. Fathers matter. Despite of what these people are on TV talking about. Like I said, the Christina Crosses, the Brittany Coopers, the Michael Eric Dysons. These people will have you believe that, oh, it don't matter if you got a father or not. And guarantee you, those people, they didn't have one. They didn't have one. Or they had a father who was crossed their mama's face. I like how people want to attribute their experience to everybody else's experience, but will tell other people not to attribute their experiences to everybody else's experience. So it's all right for you to make your experience representative of all people or all black people or all black men or all black whatever. But it's not all right for someone else to do it, which makes no sense. Which makes no sense to me. But who's raising you does matter. Because let's be honest, man. Where you start has a lot to do with where you finish, right? If you grow up around drugs and crime and dope and guns and all this kind of foolishness, if you happen to make it out, you're not just fortunate. You are a fortunate outlier. Because dysfunction has a tendency to breed dysfunction, doesn't it? And I think that's what people don't like. That is why they'll tell you in a minute that fathers don't matter. Especially when you're talking about us black people, because let's be honest, most of us, we grow the fuck up without no father. Most of us. It ain't hard to find a black person who didn't have a father. It ain't hard. And no one wants to be part of the statistic. Especially a statistic that doesn't make us look so great. Because we have a tendency to not want to fucking acknowledge anything that we can't brag about. If it can't be bragged about, we want to put a lot of distance between us and that thing, right? Or we come back with my favorite, white people do it too. Latino people do it too. You got people now even saying Asians do it too, which is bullshit because Asians got the lowest percentage of all that shit. Poverty, single motherhood, all of that. So I don't even know why we even try to compare to them at this point. I get people comparing themselves to white folks, which percentage-wise we got beat by a long shot. Latinos would probably be a better comparison because we're pretty close to them in numbers. But people want you to believe that who raises you doesn't matter. It's all up to you. Doesn't matter how shitty your parents are. Doesn't matter how good your parents are. Doesn't matter whether or not your parents are together or not. Doesn't matter whether or not a father's in your life or not. Doesn't matter whether or not you grow up in poverty or not. None of that shit matters. Because see, what's really messing us up is white folk. Yeah, white folk is destroying us as black people. White folk, the white power structure, racism. How we're raised has nothing to do with it. Who our parents are have nothing to do with it. Our living conditions as we were growing up, nothing to do with it. Where we grew up, nothing to do with it. Parents own drugs, nothing to do with it. Mama got a new man in the house every 3 months, nothing to do with it. Yeah, none of that means anything. Because, see, the reason why the people who raised you are messed up is because of racism. So truly, it's the racism that's got you messed up, not your parents. Because, see, your parents are messed up because of the racism. That's where we are, folk. And I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Because fucking racism don't got shit to do with how you raise your fucking kids. Racism does not stop you from teaching your fucking kids how to have decent morals, decent values. Racism has nothing to do with that. And you can't tell me just because people don't have money that they automatically can't have morals, can't have values, can't have a conscience. And like I said, when you don't have a father in your life, man, you have a tendency to lack all those things. You have a tendency to lack values and morals and a conscience. You have a tendency to lack fucking civility. Especially if your mama ain't shit. Because they always say women are the first teachers, right? So what is she teaching you? What is she teaching you? What is she teaching you when you're 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 years old? Because it's not like you're in school yet, so everything you're learning from her, right? So if you walking around here 3 and 4 years old cussing like a sailor, where you learning that from? Where you learning that from? Especially when you look up, man, and you see black children, and we talk about this all the time, man, only 20% of black children are reading on a grade level, writing on a grade level, and doing mathematics on a grade level by the time they're in the 4th grade. It drops down to like 15% by the time they're in the 8th grade. You got all these kids who can't read, they can't write, they can't count. But at 3 years old, they can curse. They can say bitch and motherfucker and all this old kind of foolishness. They can do gang signs and do the nay-nay. Recite lyrics from Lil Wayne's songs. They can do all this shit. But they can't read. They can't write. They can't count. Why not? Why, your mama wasn't teaching you numbers? Wasn't teaching you colors? Wasn't teaching you words? Wasn't teaching you how to write? Wasn't teaching you the difference between night and day? Teaching you the difference between a pair of pants and a shirt? The difference between shoes and a hat? She wasn't teaching you any of that? But you sure can freaking use profanity with precision, though, when you're 4, can't you? She made sure you learned that, didn't she? She made sure you knew how to say, kiss my ass, and fuck you, and shut the fuck up, and lame ass bitch, and hey, you 4 years old, you can say all of that perfectly. Know how to apply it in context and everything. But can't read, can't write, can't count. Something tells me that if you had a father, it would be different. Your ass would be able to read. You would be able to count. You would know your colors, your numbers. You'd know how to hold a fucking pencil. And you know what you wouldn't be doing? Running around there cursing like you in the Navy You wouldn't be doing that either, would you? There's brothers in here that I know have kids. Your damn kids cuss around you. I would venture to say that you're pretty sure that they don't curse when they're not around you. But it don't matter who raised them. We are the only people who hold that fucking contention. Oh, it doesn't matter if you have a father or not. Oh, it doesn't matter if you're in a nuclear family or not. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. We're the only people who believe that bullshit. And the data says different. The data says different. The data doesn't back up what these people are saying. Even these fucking PhDs. Like this one here. Christina Cross. And this is a so-called sociologist. Because she wants you to believe not just fathers aren't important, but men are not important. That's what it all comes down to. Now, mind you, I say again, this is a person who is a professor of sociology at Harvard. Let that swirl around in your mind for a minute. This is a sociology professor at Harvard. And it says that her research falls at the intersection of families, race, ethnicity, and social inequality. She examines how the family structure, change, and dynamics influence individuals' life chances, particularly among minoritized and or low-income populations. Her work has appeared in outlets such as Social Problems, Demography, and the Journal of Marriage and Family. Her research has been supported by organizations including the National Science Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, the JPB Foundation, and the Social Science Research Council. It has received awards from the American Sociological Association, including the 2020 ASA Dissertation Award, the Population Association of America, the Society for Study of Social Problems, ProQuest, and the Midwest and Southern Sociological Societies. Cross holds a PhD in Public Policy and Sociology from the University of Michigan. This lady writes things like, "You're not better off than a white person from a single home if you have your mother and your father, even though the data says different." And these fucking academics, they have big audiences. They teach courses. They give speeches. They speak in arenas. And they will have you believe that up is down and down is up and left is right and right is left. And they're fucking embraced by people. Because for some reason, anything that has to do with a family raising children is somehow blasphemy to these people. Because everything is static, right? Everything is static. Because these people believe that children can turn out fine no matter who they're raised by. A fucking elephant can raise your kid and they'll turn out all right. Let these people tell it. A fucking dragonfly can raise your son. He'll be just fine with a dragonfly as a father. A horse as a father. People like her. Take a good look at Miss Christina Cross. I want y'all to get a good look at her. Because I told y'all a while back, we are not going to forget about this lady. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because like I said, people like her would have you believe a baby living in a laboratory with no parents is better off than a kid in a nuclear family. Let her tell it. And I'm pretty sure she was raised by an old baby mama. I'm pretty sure. If she's not, I would be surprised. I would be surprised. And there's a phone number down here. There's a phone number down here. Not that I'm telling you to do it, but maybe, just maybe, you brothers might want to give Professor Cross a call. There is a number here. Y'all want it? Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? Do you Negroes want to see it? I think you do. There it is. There it is. Don't tell anybody. You got it from me, all right? Don't say anything. Let's just keep it between us folks here. There's an email, too. Make sure you screenshot it. In fact, you can tell them X sent you if you want to. If you want to. So what do y'all brothers think? Y'all think it's important? Who's raising you? Do you think it's important?
Who's raising you? Who's raising you with all of this drama?
The prophet of thought.
Who's raising you? Nigga. Who's raising you? These old mamas. Who's raising you? Nigga. Who's raising you? Raising you. Who's raising you? Who's raising you with all of this drama?
Prophet of thought.
Who's raising you? These old mamas. Who's raising you? Nigga.
You know. You know.
Who's raising you? Raising you? Raising you?
The prophet of thought.
Who is raising you? A better question is, who raised you? But I think I've rambled long enough. So, you brothers want to come up and talk about it, you know what to do. Email is prophetofthought@yahoo.com. It's prophetofthought, one word, no caps, at yahoo.com. Negroes. Because I think it's important, man. And I think we need to put a little more emphasis on how children are being raised, man. I think we need to put a little bit more emphasis on it, man. We got to stop acting like it's irrelevant. And I think that's the problem, man. We've pretended that who's raising the kids is irrelevant. We've done it for 30, 40, 50 years. It's a failed experiment, man. Obviously, look at the results. It's a failed experiment. The experiment has failed time and time and time and time again. We can't keep doing the same old shit, man, and expecting different results. Because I guess we expect the world to change, to adapt. We want the world to adapt to our dysfunctional bullshit. We don't want to get functional, no. We want the world to adapt and accept our dysfunction. Because that's what a lot of the shit you see is about, right? Special treatment and equal treatment all at the fucking same time. But how on earth can we expect things to work when things that are proven to work, we are not doing? I mean, I don't think anybody except people like Christina Cross and Deborah Cooper and people like that. But I don't think anybody can deny the importance of family, the importance of a father. Yeah, I get it, man. You know, sometimes, shit don't work out. Shit don't work out. But if you're an old baby mama, at the very least, that child should be having access to his old man, especially if that's what he wants to do. I mean, if he's a brother that don't want to be bothered with the kid, that's something different. But if he's a brother that wants to be in that kid's life, the best thing for that kid is to allow that man to be in that kid's life. I mean, come on, man. We have to be honest here. We have to be honest. I mean, come on. I mean, at some point, I say again, we have to do what works as opposed to doing what doesn't work and expect the world to look at it like it works, or expect the world to come in and do something to make this dysfunctional thing work. I mean, isn't that what society is about, man? Isn't that what society is about? You actually think if you was to go into one of those neighborhoods where all this shit is going on at, what do you think you're going to find there? You think you're going to find a bunch of nuclear families living around there? You think you're going to find a bunch of nuclear families in those cities where dudes is getting their heads blowed off by the dozens every weekend? People getting shot dead in the middle of the street? You think you're going to find a bunch of father-led homes there? Come on. Come on. You're probably going to find more churches in that neighborhood than you will fathers. Because for some reason, there's plenty of them in these places that people get their heads blown off by the dozen every week. Because the so-called collective father of the quote-unquote neighborhood ain't too concerned either, right? He too concerned into getting into these old mama's purses and panties. So he don't even preach fatherhood. Shit, not only do he not preach fatherhood, he don't preach family. He's scared his goddamn tithes are going to drop. Donations are going to drop. He started preaching family and fatherhood. No. He's more content with those people praying for their husband as opposed to having one. As long as he keep them praying for one, he knows they'll never get one. He knows that. He's playing the odds. That's all he has to do. They're in his favor. He know no matter what he say up there, only about 23% of them chicks in there gonna ever be married to anybody. He knows that. He knows the numbers are on his side. So he can keep them praying for a husband. Yeah, he can keep them doing it. But in the meantime, these same people who are quote unquote praying for a husband are raising children. They're more wrapped up in Facebook, church, Instagram, TikTok, nails, hair, and red bottom shoes than they are the children. That's the long and the short of it. You think we would have these problems, man, in these pockets of black society like we have, man? Especially in like the inner cities. If a lot of these people were being raised by two parents. Now, I know people that say, oh, man, you don't know that. Well, we see what's going on with the people being raised by one parent. So, I don't think it would be worse than it is now. Because it's pretty damn bad. I don't think it could be worse. But for some reason, we just don't think these things matter. We think everything is static. It's whatever. It's the luck of the draw. It's the roll of a dice. It's like playing craps at the casino. You never know what's going to happen. Doesn't matter who your parents are or how they raise you. None of that matters. It's BS. It's social justice, Black Lives Matter BS. They want that to be the norm. Because y'all know, those of you who are black, you ever go to black folks gatherings? Go to a barbecue? Go to a cookout? Go to an event? What do you see there? Young hoes, old hoes, and kids. That's it. You don't see no whole bunch of goddamn men in there. You see young hoes, old hoes, and kids. You can count the fucking men on one hand. I know I go to events and shit with my wife. I be one of 4 men in there. There's a bunch of hoes and kids. That's it. That's it. No goddamn men in there. And it don't even matter what you're going to. Doesn't even matter what you're going to. You can go to some quote unquote formal shit where these hoes got on their Sunday best. But for some reason, they can't get not one Negro to show up with them there. Why? And these hoes got on their expensive fucking yaki. Got on expensive dresses and shoes and makeup and hair done and jewelry and all this kind of shit. Probably looking better than they black asses ever looked all month. But for some reason, they can't find one dude to accompany them there. Why is that? Because you know them hoes is fucking. But guess what? The dudes they fucking with, they don't want to be seen with them. That's why they're not at the party with them. That's why they're not at the cookout or the barbecue or the wedding reception. Because you know damn well them hoes would love to have some motherfucker walk in there with them. But for some reason, it's just them and 2 other hoes. Them and 3 other hoes. No dude. Y'all ever noticed that? I know y'all brothers have noticed it, man. I know you have. If you're black, I know I'm not the only black man who's seen this shit. You go to some shit that your family having or one of your friends is having, and you walk in that motherfucker, all you see is hoes and kids. It ain't even a dude there that you can go outside and smoke a cigar with. Nothing. You like, God damn. Ain't nothing here but hoes and kids. Because, see, that's the majority of certain parts of black society, brothers. And that is the fucking problem. Ain't nothing but women and fucking kids. That's it. It's all you see. Anywhere you go, especially in like the inner city, you'll see nothing but a bunch of women and a bunch of fucking kids. You know, you see a man, you know, pass through here and there, but nothing but hoes and kids, man. Nothing but hoes and kids. And you know a lot of these women, it ain't like these women are fucking Claire Huxtable. I mean, all you got to do is look on media and you can tell a lot of these women, they ain't fucking Claire Huxtable. And I doubt that they transform into fucking Claire Huxtable when they get round the kids. I seriously doubt they transform into Claire Huxtable when they home with the kids. So what are these kids learning? They're learning to be uncivilized. They're learning to be disrespectful. They're learning to be loud. They're learning to be crass. They're learning to be fucking immature. Because trust me, a lot of this bullshit you see with a lot of these so-called parents, they think they're doing right by these children. Yeah, Brother Paul. Exactly. Exactly. Brothers come through, you know, they got a, they got a cookout going on. You know, he come through, you know, get some chicken and potato salad and a big old slice of cake and put a few beers in his pocket and shit and bounce. He get him a handful of motherfucking fried chicken, some potato salad, and a big slice of cake. Put a couple of those cold Heinekens in his fucking pocket and bounce. He walk out of that motherfucker with the plate covered with aluminum foil, you know, and he like shaking his head and shit. The motherfucker say, "Yeah, what's good? What's good, bro? Yeah, man, what's good? Yeah, man. I'm about to go out of here. I'm about to be out of here." He walk out of that motherfucker nodding at motherfuckers with his plate in his hand and motherfucking Heinekens in his pocket. Yeah. Because it's like, you know, you go there, you go to these places, you know, and all you see is a bunch of old women, young women, and kids. I know that's what I see a lot of times when I go to places. I mean, shit, my wife, she's like the only woman in there with a man. All right? Ain't nobody else getting escorted in that motherfucker except her. She's the only, my wife is the only person getting escorted in that motherfucker. All the rest of the women, they like coming in groups of 2 and 3 and shit. Yeah, they coming in like that. Groups of 2 and 3, you know, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 kids, you know, that kind of shit. There's old chicks in there, you know. It don't even be like old G's in there. Like, You don't even see too many of them. Like, the older OGs. Nope. 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 All the OGs you see in there are females. Don't be no OGs in there. Told you. I go there, I'd be like one of like 6 men in the whole fucking place. It's the way it is, man. That's the reality, man. That is black society, man. If you want to see who's raising the children, all you got to do is go to one of those events. There's your fucking answer. There's your answer. Because all you see is a bunch of women, younger women, older women. They are raising the children for the most part. Grandma, auntie, mama. Grandma, auntie, mama. Okay? They're getting raised by the GAMs. The grandmas, the aunts, and the mamas. And guess what? Usually, at least 2 out of those 3 people, at least 2 are fucked up. Because if grandma is straight, mama and auntie ain't shit. Mama and auntie ain't shit. If mama is straight, auntie and grandma ain't shit. If auntie is straight, grandma and mama ain't shit. So guess what? 2 out of 3 fucking people who are raising these kids ain't shit. So there's a pretty good chance they won't be shit either. Now, of course, some of the kids escape it. They get the fuck away. They get the fuck away from grandma, auntie, and mama. They get the fuck away from them. And once they get away from them, the spell is broken. Because the spell can be broken, but you have to fucking get away. You have to get away when you're like 18, 17, 18. You have to get away then. If you don't get away then, you take the spell with you. Especially if you fuck around and you remain with mama and you down in her cellar, your ass 38. Yeah, the spell never fucking gets broken. She's still raising your ass even though you 38. All right, she's still raising you. Even though your ass damn near 40, she's still raising you. Especially if you're still living in her house. You're still living in your mama's house. She's still raising you. Now, I know black people don't like when I say that, but they can't say a motherfucking thing to disprove it either. You're still living with your mama. Your ass 35. Mom is still raising you. She's still raising you. And guess what? The same tactic she used that failed when you were 5, she continued to use them when you were 15. Continued to use them when you were 25. And now that you're 35, she's still doing it. The same failing fucking tactics that failed when you were 5. She's still doing the same thing now that you're 35. And I know when I say this shit to you Negroes, you probably don't understand what I'm talking about. You probably don't. Because you lived it. You don't see it. You're still living up under your mama, man. You're 30, 35 years old. She's still fucking raising your ass, technically. with them same badass tactics that she was using when you was 5. That's why your 35-year-old ass still living in her cellar right now. That's why you're still there. Because of the failing tactics from when you were 5, 15, 25. Get it? Negroes? See, me, I never had that luxury. But then again, I had something that a lot of us don't have. It's called a father. I didn't have that luxury. You weren't expected to be fucking still be being raised when your ass 30. Shit, I know my old man, he was like 23, 24, thinking he was still he would have laughed your ass right the fuck out of his house is what he would have did. I grew up with an old man who told me when I was a little boy that this is my house. You want to start a family? You're going to start a family in your house. My family lives in this house. You want to start a family? You're going to have to start it in your house. I was raised by that guy. He told me that when I was like 9. He also told me, he said, long as you fucking living in here, you will be following the rules of in here. And guess what? I understood it. Shit, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 17. I mean, I don't get these guys today, man. They 30, 35, 40 fucking years old, still living in their parents' house. Like, man, what the fuck? Absolutely not. I didn't have that luxury. By the time I was 20, shit, I had been out of my parents' house for 3 years. I didn't have that luxury of being at my parents' house, man. 25, 30, 35, 40 years old, man. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. At the old man that I was raised by, he was not trying to let you be fucking living in his shit. Not as no grown-ass motherfucker. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But see, we go back to who's raising you again. It does matter who is raising you. Who raises you matters. Who raises you matters. Because how many of you brothers out there, how many of you fucking men out there, how many of you was raised by a man and was still living in his house when you was 30? How many of you? I don't see nobody out there saying yes. How many of you out there was raised by a man and still living in his fucking house when you was 25? Well, see, when you raised by a man, you fucking know better, don't you? Yeah, you know better. He greases the wheels for you to roll the fuck out when you get to be about 13. He's already greasing the wheels for you to roll out. Yeah, the wheels are greased for you to roll the fuck out. And I think when you raised by a father, man, you have a tendency to mature quicker than when you're not. I think that has a lot to do with a lot of people in the lifestyles they live, man, and the shit they get involved with, man. I think a lot of these people are like, they're just totally fucking immature. They're not grown up. They're being raised by their old mama. They don't have to grow up. They don't have to. Mama raised them all the way up to the time they 45. Negro 45, still living in the cellar and shit, down by the boiler and shit. You hear the boiler firing over. Motherfucker down there sleeping by the boiler. This motherfucker 45 years old. Sleeping next to the motherfucking hot water heater and shit. Breathing in carbon motherfucking dioxide fumes and shit. Down in the basement with the motherfucking daddy long legs and shit. You know? Down there with the motherfucking spiders and the motherfucking crickets. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Fuck's gotta grow the fuck up. As simple as that. Motherfucker sitting down in the basement 45 waiting for his mama to die and shit. Wait for mom to die so he can take over the house and shit. But guess what? He ain't gonna be able to keep nothing she fucking leave. Shit he couldn't maintain while she was alive. Shit, she died. That motherfucker finished. He's finished. Because he ain't going to be able to maintain nothing she leave behind. Nothing. Y'all heard the stories that I told y'all before. These motherfuckers live in these houses. The house totally paid for. Mama died, leave this motherfucker in the house. He let the fucking tax note balloon up the goddamn $12,000. And somebody come and fucking pay that shit and take the fucking house out from under him. A house his family worked and slaved for. And guess what? That motherfucker was raised by a man. Guess what? He'd have his own motherfucking house. And at the very least, he would know how to fucking keep mamas. So don't tell me that raising doesn't matter. Because that shit follows your ass all the way up till the time your ass die. Motherfuckers 35, 40 years old. Still suffering because they wasn't raised by a man. Fucking women still running around looking for daddy even though they 40. So don't tell me who's raising you does not matter. Why you think a lot of these women do the shit they do? They fucking looking for daddy. Searching for daddy. They're searching for daddy. Now, of course, they'll never fucking own it. Because we as black people, boy, we don't want to own shit. Because, you know, we can easily brush it off as being because of white folk and, you know, the white power structure and all this other shit. But, I mean, come on. Come on. We seen what a few generations of fatherlessness has done in black society. We've seen a few generations of ill-prepared motherhood. We've seen what that has done to black society. We've seen it. We've seen what it's done. All these things are failed experiments, folk. Failed fucking experiments. Because a lot of us, man, just let's be honest here, man. A lot of us don't have any fucking business with children. We're too fucking irresponsible to have children. You're an irresponsible person. The last thing you should be is responsible for another little person or multiple little people. You're irresponsible. And I just don't believe that you go from being irresponsible as hell to responsible all of a sudden just because you got a kid now. I mean, I don't think that transition is automatic. And we see it all the time. We see it at the top of this damn stream every time I do one. I show you irresponsible ass mamas every night. I've yet to repeat a fucking story. I done fucked around and started getting creative with it now. Showing you videos and showing you excerpts of other YouTubers. Shout out to Brother Game Changer. Showed you a clip of his shit tonight. I'm getting creative with it now. That's how many instances it is of it out there. Told you I'm never going to run out. Think about the freaking people that I bring you. Think about the people who kill these children. If they are the type of parents who kill the children, what type of life you think those kids had when they were alive? I say again, you think these women, these old mamas, were Claire Huxtable when they put the kids to bed Friday night and then just woke up Saturday morning and stabbed them, burned them, shot them, suffocated them, poisoned them, threw them over a bridge? They were Claire Huxtable all the way up until Friday night, but Saturday morning woke up and shot them. Woke up and stabbed them, bludgeoned them to death, threw them in the river, suffocated them. His children were living in hell. They were living in hell. Because if the person that's quote unquote raising them will kill them, what wouldn't she do to them? These kids would probably torture their whole fucking lives. Their whole lives. And then the ones that survive it, what do they turn out to be? They turn out to be like this little girl I showed y'all tonight. She's 12 years old. She's 12 years old. She's knocking on the fucking school bus door with a pistol in her hand. While her whole black ass mom is standing out there in her fucking drawers with another little kid. Then fucking gets on fucking social media and justifies the whole thing as if a 12-year-old walking around with a fucking pistol banging on a fucking school bus is perfectly normal. Can you imagine what that girl's life is like in that fucking house? But then again, no, maybe she's June Cleaver when she's home. You know, Claire Huxtable, you know. Florida Evans, you know. She just acted like that one time. All the other times, she's fucking Claire Huxtable. when she's not standing out there at the fucking bus stop in her fucking drawers and shit with a fucking pistol in her hand in front of all them kids. That was only that one time, y'all. The rest of the time, she's solid. She's a solid mother the rest of the time. These are the people who are raising people. They are raising these people. They are raising the robbers, the killers, the carjackers. They're doing it. I showed y'all the fucking stats. Where the fucking incarcerated people come from. The teen suicides, the runaways, the drug addicts, the drunks, the people with behavioral problems. They're being raised by these people. These are the people who are raising them. You can say what the fuck you want about me. You can fucking get mad at me for saying it. But you need to be mad at them because they're the ones putting these fucking people out there. They're the ones raising these fucking kids in this fucking nightmare of a house. This house of horrors. And we wonder why these kids grow up to rob liquor stores, carjack, kill folk. We wonder why. Because they're growing up in a house of fucking horrors. Being raised by somebody who don't bit more need these fucking kids than there's a man in the fucking moon. She just had them. That's it. Give them food, clothing, and shelter. That's it. They consider that raising. Yeah, you're raising them. Giving them food, clothing, and shelter. And put them on the bus for a few years. You've raised them. People don't give a shit about these kids, man. They don't give a shit how these kids turn out or what these kids do. They don't. They don't give a fuck about how these kids operate. And they definitely are not looking for what's best for the child. What's in the best interest of the child. They're definitely not looking for that. Because when you look at some of these fucking people who are raising these children, man, the best interest of these children is to be with their father. But a lot of these women, they don't want that, do they? Because it's never really about the kid, is it? It's about her. It's about her. Especially if the man actually wants to be in the child's life. I mean, I have brought y'all story after story after story where these women kill these kids because the father has won custody, because the father has won 50-50. The father wins custody, they kill the kids. He wins 50-50, they stab the kid, suffocate the kid, shoot the kid. Because these lunatics would rather the kid be dead than live with his father. Because it was never about that kid in the first place. It's fucking about her. It's about her. Yeah. Brother Shang. Put the kids in the oven. Father win custody, they put the fucking kid in the fucking stove. Drown them. Put a bag over their head. Poison them. Because it's not about the kid. It's about her. And this is the fucking person who's raising these children. They're so motherfucking selfish that if the father wins custody, they murder the kids. How fucking selfish can you be? He win 50-50 joint custody. Well, put the kid in the oven. Throw the kid in the river. Burn the kid. It's about her. It's about what she wants. What she feels. It's what it's about. It's not about that child. It never was. Always about her. Because let's be honest, man. To some of these people, man, these children are just a check. That's it. Yeah, she done laid down and fucked and had them. But the kids are just a check to them. So how do these fucking kids not live a life of abuse and torture and neglect and shit? When all the old mammy see them as is a fucking check. That's all she cares about is a fucking check. She don't give a fuck about these kids. You know, she gotta feed them, of course. She gotta get them clothes and shoes and shit. But they're just a fucking check. That's why she ain't helping them with their homework or their schoolwork. That's why when they 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, before they go to school, they're not teaching them how to count, how to write, colors, how to spell their name, their ABCs, how to tell time. They're not teaching them to say please and excuse me and thank you and pardon me. No. None of that shit. None of that's being taught. Because they don't give a shit. Plop them in front of the fucking television. Give them a fucking bowl of cereal. And this bitch go in her room and get on Facebook. And take selfies all fucking day. Trying to get likes. Kids raising their fucking selves. And if they ain't doing that, she's got the 10-year-old watching the 8-year-old, the 6-year-old, the 4-year-old, and the 2-year-old. While she at the club. While she at the bar. While she in her fucking room getting bent over. And shout out to freaking Nate. He says these women treat these children like fucking accessories. Like a fucking pair of earrings or a hat or a necklace. That's not raising. A lot of these children are not being raised. That is the problem. They are not being raised. They're not being raised. And like I said, we wonder why they grow up to fucking rob liquor stores, shoot folks in the head, carjack, commit burglaries and shit. The fuck you expect from them when they being raised by a freaking idiot who doesn't give a shit about them? Beats the fucking brakes off of them from the time they 2 to the time they 15. Leaving them home by themselves. Traipsing fucking men in and out the house. Negroes up in their room at night. They getting touched and shit. And mom ain't doing shit about it. What do we expect for them to turn out to be? Your fucking raising and rearing has a lot to do with your fucking personality, man. If you're being raised by some lunatic mama, you're lucky to fucking survive it. You're lucky that you survived that shit. Because I show y'all night after night after night of children who didn't. Night after night after night. I show y'all women that killed these children, shot these children, murdered these children, suffocated these children, burnt these children, threw these children in lakes and rivers, put these children in ovens, chopped these children into pieces. I show y'all that shit night after night after night. A lot of kids don't survive it. They don't. If you was raised by one of these lunatics and you made it out of there, consider yourself fortunate. And I know people get mad at us because we're always talking about these old baby mamas. But they have a tendency to produce the worst results, especially when it comes to children. And those of you who get mad, I want to ask y'all a question. Better yet, I'll refer to the good minister and have him ask you.
No. Sell it to the people. Sell it to the people and sell it to the world. You tell us single motherhood is good. How have we benefited from single motherhood? Some of you niggas just survived it. You just survived it. I gotta tell you, a lot of y'all niggas, it don't cost shit to love your kids. They focusing on trying to get their body together so they can go land a new nigga when their kids need love. Where are your kids?
How has it benefited us? How? How has it benefited us? There is no answer to that question, is it? It never will be. It never will be. But I done ran my mouth long enough. Think I'm going to go ahead and pack it up. I just wanted to come up here, man, and talk about this here. I don't have anything planned for next week. Nothing's booked, so I won't be boring y'all with program notes tonight. I don't know what we're going to do. Well, I have like a couple things that might be in the works, but I don't want to say nothing about it because I don't know if it's going to come through or not. So, but yeah, I appreciate everybody showing up tonight, man. As always, you know, you could have spent your Saturday night anywhere. You decided to spend it here with us. It is appreciated because I don't take you good folks lightly, man. I never have and I never will. You got my word on that. But before we go, I gotta hit y'all one time. One more time. And like I said, this here track is available on iTunes for $9.99 a copy if you wish to purchase a copy. We're doing a discount of $5.99 if we're familiar with you. If we are familiar with you, you get a $5.99 copy. But all the rest of you Negroes, it's $9.99. So I'm going to go ahead and let Brother Truism take us home. Here we go.
Who's raising you? Who's raising you? Who's raising you with all of this drama?
The prophet of thought.
Who's raising you, nigga? Who's raising you? These old mamas. Who's raising you, nigga? Who's raising you? Raising you? Raising you? Who's raising you, raising you, raising you, who's raising you with all of this drama? Who's raising you, nigga?
The prophet of thought.
Who's raising you? These old mamas. Who's raising you, nigga?
You know. You know.
Who's raising you, raising you, raising you,
The prophet of thought.
Them old mama, old mamas just like this. Old mamas. Sitting up there fucking lying. Making fucking excuses. Not only for the kid, but for her fucking self. Because she knows she's failed this child. So instead of just owning the fucking failure and moving on, she needs to circumvent the failure. Because they dare not own the failure, right? Because let's face it, a lot of these old mamas have not accomplished crap in their life. And the only fucking accomplishment they have is having these kids. That is their fucking accomplishment. And they dare not admit to failing at that. Right. dare not admit to failing at it. These women know they failed these children. I just wanted y'all to see the type of people who raise the type of people who kill the Hadia Pendletons of the world, who kill the James Lamberts of the world. These are the type of people that raised them. These idiot old mamas, who don't give a damn about these children. They don't care how they're raised. They don't care how they're developed. They don't care about their education. They don't care about their supervision. They don't care about counseling them. They don't care about guiding them, instructing them. They don't care about it. And then when one of these young fools go off and kill somebody, stab somebody, shoot somebody, rob somebody, these old mamas sit up and make excuses for them. And make excuses for themselves at the same time. Oh, I'm not a bad mom. Your fucking daughter's out killing somebody 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. Nope, you're not a bad mom. You're a fucking horrible mom. You old mama, you. You're beyond bad. You're horrible. And I say again, they just try to save face. Circumventing the failure instead of just owning it. They know they failed these fucking children. They know they have. They failed them. They failed them when they was 4. So what do? Continue to practice the same tactics when they're 14, when they're 24, when they're 34. Even though those patterning practices failed when they were 4, they're still doing the same shit when they're 14. Doing the same shit when they're 24. When they're 34. These are the old mamas who got the 36-year-old motherfucker living in a cellar. Telling you how she's a good mom. No. You're a failure, mom. Your failure is that 38-year-old motherfucker that lives in a cellar. That is your failure. Mama. Even if you don't want to admit it. Even if you don't want to own it. Your failure is the 38-year-old living in your cellar. Mama.
Open your mind.
T.P.O.T. Investigate.
Think about this.
Investigate.
Think about this. Think about this. Think about this.
T.P.O.T. Investigate.
Open your mind.
Only from T.P.O.T. Media. Open your